Well, good afternoon. Happy Friday, August 30th. Heading into the holiday weekend and talking to you from a hotel room in Rosemary Beach, Florida. Let's get right to it. Pretty flat week as it pertained to mortgage-backed securities and mortgage interest rates, but an interesting article out really referencing NAR data for U.S. pending home sales. Pending home sales, one of the leading indicators for housing, and they tumbled to a record low in July. They've been keeping track of this data since 2001. And we are at 2001 levels when it comes to pending home sales or homes with signed contracts. That probably speaks to why we have seen tepid activity for the month of August. Hopefully that will pick up as we move into the fall. As you scroll down the screen here, you can see some quotes from the NAR chief economist Lawrence Yun saying the positive impact of job growth and higher inventory could not overcome affordability challenges. Check out my article on LinkedIn to talk about what's going on with housing and affordability, and some degree of wait and see as it pertains to the upcoming U.S. presidential election. Perhaps there's more at play here than just interest rates. Perhaps we're waiting for September 18th for the Fed to cut the Fed funds rate at least once there, maybe a quarter of a point, perhaps half a point. Then we've got the November presidential election, and then whomever comes into office seems to have some sort of plan for how to address housing. I think that's keeping some people on the sidelines. Let's shift gears. Talk quickly about GDP and GDI. So I've never really paid much attention to GDI, gross domestic income, but GDP, let's go here to the Bureau of Economic Analysis and see what they have to say about it. So GDP measures overall economic activity by final expenditures. GDI measures it by the incomes generated from those final expenditures. And you would think that even though they're different, they're constructed to mirror each other. They should mirror each other, and the overall differences between GDP and GDI would just have statistical discrepancy. However, as you can see here, the blue line, which is GDP right here, is really differing from GDI. We're starting to see the largest gap ever recorded between GDP and GDI, meaning GDP is running hot, maybe around 3% over the last quarter, and GDI is running down around 1.1, 1.2%. That's a pretty big differentiator there between those two figures. And it sort of begs the question, which one is right? And we've seen this now over the past couple of years. Which inflation number is right? Inflation seems to be awfully manipulated by owner's equivalent of rent. Which jobs number is right? We have really low jobless claims, but we have very weak non-farm payroll growth and a rising unemployment rate. So is GDP a more accurate indicator of economic growth, or is GDI a more accurate indicator of economic trouble? Most economists that I'm reading tend to point to the latter and a little more faith in GDI than those most recent GDP numbers. In fact, when GDI and GDP have been this far apart, which they've never been this far apart before, but when they have diverged to a substantial degree, it has been a predictor of recession. We'll have to see how that plays out. In the meantime, if I can be of any service to you over the holiday weekend, don't hesitate to reach out, mark.milam@highlandmtg.com.